This humble cleric can then rest comfortably. The monks refused to retire, for the monk official had given them this instruction. Wait upon the venerable father until he retires. Then you may leave. Only after Tripitaka said, "I'm all cared for, please go back." Did they dare disperse? The Tang monk stepped outside the door to relieve himself, and he saw a bright moon high in the sky. "Disciples!" He called out, and Pilgrim, 8 Rules, and Sha monk all came out to wait on him. Moved by the bright, pure light of the moon, a round orb loftily hung to illumine the great earth, and filled with longing for his homeland, Tripitaka composed orally a long poem in the ancient style. The poem said, "The bright soul, mirror-like, hangs in the sky. Her radiance pervades the whole, vast world. Pure light fills jasper towers and jade halls. Crisp air swathes an ice tray, a silver pan. 10,000 miles are all made luminous. Her beams tonight are this year's brightest. Like a cake of frost leaving dark blue sea. Or an ice wheel hung on the jade green sky. When one guest pines by an inn's cold transoms. Or an old man sleeps in a mountain lodge. She comes to the Han court to shock gray hair. And hastens late makeup, reaching towers of Qin. For her Yu Liang has verse for history of Jin. And Yon Hong stays up to sail his river skiff. Floating on cup rims she's a cold, weak gleam. Lighting the yard, she's brilliant as God. By each window one can sing of white snow. And press in every house the icy strings. Now her pleasure comes to a monastery. When will she join me to return back home?" When Pilgrim heard these words, he approached him and said, "Master, all you know is that the moonlight fills you with longing for home, but you don't understand that the moon may symbolize the rules and regulations of nature's many modes and forms. When the moon reaches the 30th day, the metal phase, in its yang spirit, is completely dissolved, whereas the water phase of its yin soul is filled to the brim of the orb. This is the reason for the designation of that day with the term obscure, for the moon is completely dark and without light. It is at this moment also that the moon copulates with the sun, and during the time of the 30th day and the first day of the month, it will become pregnant by the light of the sun. By the 3rd day, 1 stroke of the yang will appear, and 2 strokes of the yang will be born by the 8th day. At this time, the moon will have half of its yang spirit in the middle of its yin soul, and its lower half is flat like a rope. That is the reason why the time of the month is called the upper bow. By the 15th day, all 3 strokes of the yang will be ready, and perfect union will be achieved. That is why this time of the month is called to face. On the 16th day, 1 stroke of the yin will be born, and the 2nd stroke will make its appearance on the 22nd day. At that time, half of the yin soul will be in the middle of the yang spirit, and its upper half is flat like a rope. That is the reason why this time of the month is called the lower bow. By the 30th day, all 3 strokes of the yin will be ready, and the moon has then reached the state of obscurity once more. All this is the symbol of the process of cultivation practiced by nature. If we can nourish the 2 eights until we reach the perfection of 9 times 9, then it will be simple for us at that moment to see Buddha, and simple also for us to return to our home. The poem says, "After the 1st quarter and before the last. Medicine well blended, the outlook's perfect. What you acquire from picking, smelt in the stove. Determination's fruit is Western heaven." When the elder heard what he said, he was immediately enlightened and understood completely these words of realized immortality. Filled with delight, he thanked Wukong repeatedly. On one side, Sha monk smiled and said, "Though elder brother spoke most appropriately concerning how the 1st quarter of the moon belonged to the yang and the last quarter belonged to the yin, and how in the midst of yin and in the middle of yang one could obtain the metal of water, he did not mention water and fire mixed, each to the other drawn. Depend on Earth Mother to make this match. 3 parties thus fused face no war or strife. Waters in long river, the moons in the sky." When the elder heard that, his dull mind was again opened up. Thus it was that Truth, grasped by the heart's one whole, clears up 1,000. Once you solve the riddle of no birth, you are a god. Then 8 rules walked up to the elder and tugged at him, saying, Master, don't listen to all their babblings and delay your sleep. This moon, after it wanes, will soon grow round again. Like me, it was born none too perfectly. At meals I'm disliked for too large a maw. I drool too much, they say, on bowls I hold. They have their blessings earned through cleverness. I have affinity stocked by foolishness. I tell you that fetching scriptures will end your 3 karmic paths. Wagging head and tail, you'll go up to heaven. All right, disciples, said Tripitaka. You must be tired from all this journeying. You may go to sleep first, and let me meditate on this roll of scripture. Master, you must be mistaken, said Pilgrim. You left the family in your youth to become a monk. How could you not be completely familiar with all the scriptures you studied when you were young? Then you received the command from the Tang Emperor to go to the Western Heaven and see Buddha for the true canon of Mahayana. But at this moment, your merit has not been perfected, you have not seen the Buddha, and you have not yet acquired the scriptures. Which roll of scripture do you want to meditate on? Tripitaka said. Since I left Chang'an, I have been traveling day and night, and I fear that the scriptures I learned in my youth might slip away from me. Tonight there's a little time, and I want to do some reviewing. In that case, said Pilgrim, we'll go to sleep first. The 3 disciples indeed lay down on 3 of the rattan beds. Closing the door of the Zen hall and turning up the lamp, the elder opened his roll of scripture and began to read and meditate in silence. Truly it was that first watch struck from a tower, human bustle ceased. When fishing boat fires by wild banks went out. We don't know how that elder will depart from the monastery. Let's listen to the explanation in the next chapter.